Imagine a man who could paint a masterpiece like the Mona Lisa, invent futuristic machines that were centuries ahead of their time, and study the human body with such precision that he revolutionized science. A man who was a painter, inventor, engineer, and scientist, long before those roles were clearly defined. Who was this genius that seemed almost superhuman in his abilities? His name was Leonardo da Vinci, and his story will leave you amazed. Let's dive into the life of this Renaissance master, who left an indelible mark on the world with his creative genius. Early life. Leonardo da Vinci was born on April 15, 1452, in the small town of Vinci, Italy. His full name was Leonardo di Ser Piero da Vinci, which means Leonardo, son of Piero from Vinci. He was born out of wedlock to a wealthy notary, Piero, and a peasant woman named Caterina. Although his parents were not married, Leonardo was still brought up in his father's household, where he received a decent education for the time. As a young boy, Leonardo showed signs of great talent. He was curious about everything, constantly observing the world around him. He was fascinated by nature, animals, and even machines. His drawing skills were exceptional, and his father recognized his potential. At the age of 14, Leonardo was sent to Florence, the cultural heart of Italy, to study under a famous artist named Andrea del Verrocchio. It was here that Leonardo's journey as an artist truly began. Apprenticeship with Verrocchio. Under Verrocchio's guidance, Leonardo learned the basics of painting, sculpture, and even mechanical engineering. Verrocchio's workshop was a hub for young artists, and Leonardo quickly stood out among them. His attention to detail and his ability to capture lifelike movements in his drawings amazed his master. There is a famous story that Verrocchio once asked Leonardo to help him paint an angel in a piece called The Baptism of Christ. When Verrocchio saw the angel Leonardo had painted, he was so impressed that he supposedly gave up painting, believing his young apprentice had surpassed him. During this time, Leonardo also studied anatomy, which would later become one of his lifelong passions. He would dissect animals and even human bodies, carefully sketching what he saw. These studies helped him understand how muscles and bones worked, which greatly influenced his artwork. His deep understanding of anatomy would later be evident in some of his most famous works. Early career in Florence. After completing his apprenticeship, Leonardo stayed in Florence and began working independently. His talent was quickly recognized, and he received commissions from wealthy patrons. However, Leonardo's restless mind was always thinking beyond art. He wasn't just interested in painting, he was also drawn to science, engineering, and nature. One of his early works, Adoration of the Magi, was never finished, but even in its incomplete state, it showed his innovative techniques. Leonardo was experimenting with perspective and movement, something that set him apart from other artists of his time. Despite his growing fame, Leonardo was known for not finishing many of his projects. His curiosity would often lead him in different directions, making him move from one task to another. This frustration with incomplete works would follow him throughout his life. Move to Milan. In 1482, Leonardo left Florence and moved to Milan, seeking new opportunities. He wrote a letter to the Duke of Milan, Ludovico Sforza, offering his services not just as an artist but also as an engineer, architect, and military expert. Leonardo knew how to sell his talents, and the Duke was impressed. In Milan, Leonardo was given more freedom to explore his many interests. He created one of his most famous works during this time, The Last Supper, a mural that depicts the moment Jesus reveals that one of his disciples will betray him. Painted on the wall of a convent, this masterpiece showcased Leonardo's ability to capture human emotion and drama in a way that had never been done before. However, due to the experimental techniques Leonardo used, the painting began to deteriorate shortly after it was finished. In addition to painting, Leonardo worked on various engineering projects, including designing bridges, weapons, and even musical instruments. His notebooks from this period are filled with sketches of inventions that were far ahead of their time. Some of his designs, like the helicopter and the parachute, were not realized until centuries later. The Renaissance Man. Leonardo was the epitome of the Renaissance man, someone who excelled in multiple fields. He had a never-ending thirst for knowledge, and his interests went beyond art. He studied geology, botany, astronomy, and mathematics. He believed that all things in nature were connected, and he sought to understand how everything worked together. One of his most famous drawings, Vitruvian Man, reflects this belief. The drawing shows a perfectly proportioned human body, based on the ideas of the ancient Roman architect Vitruvius. Leonardo was fascinated by the human form, and he believed that it was a key to understanding the universe. His notebooks are full of sketches, scientific observations, and ideas that were groundbreaking. Unfortunately, many of these ideas were never put into practice during his lifetime, but they showed how far ahead Leonardo was in his thinking. Return to Florence. In 1499, political turmoil in Milan forced Leonardo to return to Florence. Here, he began working on another masterpiece, the Mona Lisa. This portrait of a mysterious woman has become one of the most famous paintings in the world, known for the subject's enigmatic smile. Leonardo worked on the Mona Lisa for years, constantly refining it. Some believe that he never truly finished the painting. While in Florence, Leonardo also worked on various other projects, including military fortifications and engineering designs. He was consulted by political leaders for his expertise in a wide range of subjects. Final years and legacy. In 1516, Leonardo moved to France at the invitation of King Francis I. The king admired Leonardo's genius and offered him a position as premier painter and engineer and architect to the king. Leonardo spent the last years of his life in France, where he continued to work on his studies and projects, though his health was declining. Leonardo da Vinci passed away on May 2, 1519, at the age of 67. He left behind a vast collection of artworks, notebooks, and ideas that would inspire generations to come. Although many of his projects were never completed, his influence on both art and science is immeasurable. Leonardo da Vinci is often regarded as one of the greatest minds in history. His ability to see the world from different perspectives and his passion for learning made him unique. Whether through his paintings, inventions, or scientific studies, Leonardo pushed the boundaries of what was possible in his time. He remains an icon of the Renaissance and a symbol of human potential. Leonardo da Vinci was not just an artist, he was a visionary whose ideas shaped the future. His genius continues to inspire us, showing that creativity and curiosity have no limits. If you enjoyed learning about this incredible man and want to explore more amazing stories from history, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating documentaries.